stuff.
Oh, okay.
When you kind of come out of spring and get sort of a better feel for kind of your personnel, obviously the first time you're running an offense, do you kind of come out of it and say, maybe some tweaks I want to do, maybe some stuff I want to do because of more stuff I've learned about my guys?
I think naturally, yes. To answer that question, I think absolutely. You know, anytime you get a chance to go in and there's a body of work and you can go in there and say, okay, what do we do good, what do we do bad, what do we need to improve on, what do we need to get rid of, what do we need to make sure we add in that's kind of complement to what we do good. I think that has to constantly be talked about. I mean, and never get tired of talking about those things, just because, you know, when you do, that's when you kind of start going backwards, in my opinion. But I think, you know, after spring, after camp, after each game, after each scrimmage, I think those are big things that you got to make sure that you're doing.
Is there a different perspective you get on some of the guys being an offensive coordinator after a spring like that?
Right. I mean, yeah, it is. But, you know, the thing is, man, is just everybody knows, and, you know, going into this deal, that everybody has so much getting better that they got to do at each position, at each spot, and especially to develop the depth that we feel like we need to go out there and compete on a high level. Man, I think that naturally takes place. Yeah.
Is Terry Guger still finding a role with the team? Is he still involved?
No, he definitely is. So I mean, he comes and helps out at practice. He's kind of a student aide over there at practice, and then he helps out in the recruiting office also. So I mean, he's still around, and I mean that's the biggest thing. You don't want anytime somebody gets hurt and stuff like that, you don't want them to feel like they're not a part of the team anymore. So to keep them around, they keep them doing as much as they can. You know, that's a big part of why we're there. You know what I mean? Just to focus on that life after football.
So is he doing the recruiting stuff in kind of an official capacity?
Kinda. I mean, yeah. You know, I mean, as official as it can be. You know, that's for sure. You know what I mean? Obviously, man, he's still a student right now. So, I mean, you know, just like we would enlist student help to fill any other role, those are the roles that he can kind of do. And right now, he's just, you know, he's excited to still be around and all that other stuff.
What was your major takeaway from the spring, from an offensive standpoint?
We still got a long way to go. You know, the other thing, it really impressed me how well everybody grasped kind of what we were doing. Obviously, it wasn't a wholesale change. It wasn't a complete 180 change to kind of what we're doing, and that helped out some too. And then having to kind of morph some different ideas and the kind of things that we already had in place, you know, that helped out a bunch too. But it was good. It was good to see guys kind of bought in and kind of ready to go, and as far as all that stuff goes.
With Dan Werner, just what's that relationship been like so far?
It's been awesome. You know, I mean, just one to have a guy that's a no ego guy.
Yeah.
That just genuinely wants to come in and do well and be a part of it. You know, obviously he's been in the business for a long time, and he's coached a bunch of good quarterbacks at a high level. And so, I mean, I think not just him, but just anybody that you have on the staff that you can kind of pick from that's done anything at a high level. I think it'll be stupid not to use guys like that. And then, you know, I mean, that's kind of been his role and everything else. But he's been awesome.
The three receivers you're bringing in, Josh, Taekwon, and Darius, all guys that kind of came from really run-heavy offenses in high school. What are sort of the advantages of getting a guy from that kind of system, and what are kind of the drawbacks?
Well, obviously, just how much they got to learn. You know, some of those guys might come in as far as route running, things like that. Just, you know, it's at a different level than somebody from a pass-happy offense might do. But I like it. I like it a lot better having it that way, just because everything that they learned, I get to teach them. You know, so you're not having to break a lot of bad habits, to be honest with you. You know, so when it comes to route running, when it comes to releases, when it comes to reading defenses and having to adjust routes in the different defenses and things like that, it's all stuff that they've learned under my teaching. You know, and so that helps it out a lot. I mean, it's a little more of a plain blank canvas. You know, if that makes any type of sense. But the biggest thing is, you know what I mean, is they have the stuff that you can't teach. You know what I mean? And that's the beauty of evaluating and all that other stuff. But you know, excited about those guys.
With Ortre and Shaw now having that year under their belt, what are maybe the specific goals for them, is, you know, to kind of take that next step?
I think it's a lot. I think it's a lot that goes into that answer. The biggest thing is they know what it's going to take to be successful on Saturdays now, you know, and so it's not assumed. It's not, well, man, I wonder if I do this, will this happen out well? you know, those guys know them. They played a bunch of ball, and they know what it takes in order to be well and do well on Saturdays. And so that is right there is invaluable, just to get those game reps. I mean, you know, so to be able to go in each venue and not get wide-eyed now, and not get overwhelmed with anything. I think it helps.
Are you able to possibly move them around and do a bit more now?
Yeah, I mean, sure. I mean, not just him, but just, you know, different guys too. You know, just ability to be able to move Bryan or Debo around some too. I think that helps, and you know, but you know, I think not just him, but those guys just having systematic ways you can do that.
Kind of on the note, with the fact that you guys are going to, obviously you've been no huddle, going to more hurry up stuff, that places kind of an emphasis on versatility. Does that limit what you can do in some 10 personnel stuff, because you always want a tight end to be able to throw out different stuff?
Kinda. You know, the thing is that regardless of what it might do, I want the 11 out there that's going to give us the best chance to win. So whether it's 2 tight ends, whether it's 4 receivers, whether it's 3 running backs, whatever it might be, you know, I want to do what's going to be. I want the 11 out there that gives us the best chance to win. And then if something happens to that 11, all right, now what's the next set of 11 that gives us the best chance to win? Not so much in the, hey, I'm going to plug this guy in and kind of keep the system rolling. And that might be the case sometimes, and it might not. So, you know, the biggest thing is just putting the best 11 out there that give us the best chance to win the game. So whether it be, like I said, 4 receivers, or whether it be no receivers, hell, I don't, you know what I mean? It might be, but you know, just, you know, that's the thought process there.
So it's a little mirroring what Coach Muschamp tries to do on defense when he says, "I want guys that can work everywhere, and I want to do all sorts of stuff."
Well, I think that's not just, you know, specific to us. I think that's what everybody does, you know, and I think that's why teams and looks change so much from one year to the next. Is because the personnel changes, you know. So obviously, I mean, we're losing a guy like Hayden. You know what I mean? If you had two cats like that, then you probably gonna have two tight ends out there. You lose one of those guys, now you know what I mean, you're probably not gonna have 2 tight ends out there. So I mean, I think it changes from year in to year out. So I mean, you know, to answer that question, absolutely. I think you got to have the ability to kind of make it work, and that's what I think good coaches do. Is they're not so much hammered into kind of what we do is, hey man, what can our guys do well?
Sort of on that subject, as an offensive schemer, what kind of a luxury is it to have a throw it up and get it guy like a Bryan Edwards?
Sure.
Just sort of that archetype of wide receiver.
Yeah, well, I think anybody at the receiver position, you want people that can win one-on-one battles, you know, and do a great job of, when it's one-on-one, you feel pretty good that the guy has a chance to come down with the football. And so obviously Bryan has the ability to do that. You know, hopefully we can get some more guys. We can get some more guys along with he and Debo and all that other stuff that's shown the ability to do that, to kind of keep that up. But you know, just with having more than one guy, you feel better about the chance of getting one-on-ones. You know, so you know if you don't have as many of those, then you probably won't get as many one-on-ones. You know, because people can do different stuff to take them out of the game. So, but yeah, I mean, the bottom line is, anytime you have a player that you feel good about winning those one-on-one matchups, man, that helps a lot.
How well or how quickly would you say Jake Bentley sort of picked up the new stuff you are asking
Well,
about?
And like I said, I mean, it's you know what I mean, but he's done a good job. He's done a good job. He's done a good job, just like the rest of those guys. Like I said, man, the biggest thing is just making sure that we do a good job on our end and making sure it's all obtainable. You know, just as far as what are we asking them to learn, and what are we asking those guys to do, making sure it makes sense. And you know, within the scheme and within everything else. And so as long as it does that, I feel like it's not really hard for anybody to kind of grasp most things.
Great.